Okay, we're gonna do another Daggerfall 2024 Daggerfall Unity look, and today we're gonna be looking at mods. So we'll go ahead and take a look at some mods from top to bottom. We have aquatic sprites, and what that does is it puts like seaweed and stuff in submerged caverns, so it looks more realistic. Basic magicka regen, which is a really good one because it regens your magicka very slowly over time, instead of having to rest every single time to regen magicka, which is more like Skyrim. And I prefer it to having to rest every time because there's a lot of times where you get into multiple fights and you need to regen magicka real quick. You run out pretty fast, even if you have 3 times intelligence. When you create your custom character, it can still end up draining your magicka. Basic roads, that simply creates roads from town to town, so you can follow a road and it'll lead you to another town, which is pretty cool. Location loader and black mobs, these are basically like things that debug and stuff like that. This one lets you add new locations and prefabs to the world, so that's how it added the rocks in my last video and stuff like that. These two pretty much are like fixes and stuff like that. Daggerfall expanded textures allows you to add in textures that were not in the base game, which is pretty good. A lot of new stuff that shows up whenever I play the game, which is great. Climates travel map, and what that does is it shows the climates on the map screen, the overworld map. So you have deserts, you have grasslands, forests, you know, that way it's more diversified and it's not just a plain map. So it kind of shows you what kind of environment, what kind of climate environment you're heading into. The RMB resource pack is it's just a pack that it's like a collection of RMB modders, and a lot of mods on Nexus need this to be installed before you can use those mods. Fixed desert architecture, it basically creates desert looking buildings instead of the way it's done on the vanilla version of Daggerfall whenever you're in Sentinel and the Alakir Desert. Windmills just adds windmills to Daggerfall. I disabled Beautiful Cities of Daggerfall because in the last video I went to travel to Chesterwart and there was nothing there, and ended up traveling to the exact location on the map, and it was a town without any buildings, so it's just roads, and that was it. So something with this is causing the cities to glitch out. So I'm just going to keep that disabled for now. The bestiary, when you press B on your keyboard, it'll add the bestiary, and this was a feature that was supposed to be added to the original Daggerfall in 1996, but they cut it out last minute. So you can basically go through the bestiary and look at every single type of enemy that you're going to encounter in the game, which is pretty cool. Better ambience, it adds combat music and better ambient music, or this is better ambience. This just adds ambient noise like footsteps, stuff like that, cave noises, dungeon noises. It's pretty good. The dynamic music, that's the one that ends up adding, what's it called? The crap. What is it? The I lost my train of thought. The music that allows combat music. There you go. So it adds combat music and different type of music depending on what's going on in the environment. Convenient clock, that pretty much adds a clock to the HUD. Bloodfall just adds more blood in combat. World of Daggerfall biomes, this basically diversifies the biomes, so you have more environments to go through whenever you're traveling throughout the Daggerfall region, or the Iliac Bay as it's called. Handheld torches, it allows you to display a torch with your sword whenever you're walking around, so you can walk around with the torch showing, just like in the other Elder Scrolls games. Dynamic skies, it adds instead of the traditional texture sky dome, uh, it adds a like a more realistic, modern 3D sky dome with the sun and stuff like that. Detailed city walls, it just retextures and redoes this city walls to make them more give them a little bit more, look better. This is natural looking mountains, hills, rivers, and canyons. So that's the one that creates like the mountain rocks and stuff like that. So it's not just flat land everywhere. It actually adds, it's not just sloping hills and stuff like that. It actually adds real rocks and stuff like that to the terrain. World of Daggerfall, it adds a bunch of outdoor locations. So like the one I saw was like a guard tower in the middle of nowhere. So that's one that adds. Vanilla Enhanced is basically a texture mod because I kind of like using King of Worms version that has the modern textures, but at the same time I kind of like the classic Daggerfall look, so I usually go with vanilla textures that are redone instead of going with you know the whole redone King of Worms version. Diverse weapons, it retextures all the weapons, so you got ebony, it actually has different looks. And it actually looks completely different. Like a steel sword will look completely different than an iron sword. It won't just be that same sword texture. And the 2D sprites are also edited, so that looks pretty cool. Fixed dungeon exteriors is pretty cool because you'll get a quest to go to a castle. You travel to the castle, and it's just one of those little hills, one of those little caves, basically. And it's like, okay, that's not a castle. So it'll actually put a castle there whenever you go in, so it actually looks correct. The hotkey bar just puts a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hotkey down at the bottom of the HUD, so you can map spells to your hotkey, just like any more modern game. And that way you don't have to open the spell book every single time whenever you go to cast a spell. New paintings just adds new paintings in the game. Hand painted models, buildings, it adds beds or 3D hand painted, chests, tables. It's all hand painted 3D models. Lively cities, it adds like more people in the city, and it also adds like a town square where all the shops are at in a main city. It adds like a bunch of people like doing there's like stalls with bread and stuff like that, and people selling bread. People, you can't actually buy from them obviously, but it's there, so it looks more real. Like stuff is actually going on other than people just walking around. Mountains and hills, that just adds like hills. So you got a big hill that you go up. Like instead of it being completely flat, the terrain. Um, it actually adds, you can look out and you can see that there's a big hill you got to walk up in order to get to the next location. Quest actions extensions, adds new quest actions conditions, and I believe that's just for the newer quests or custom quest packs that I added. Like quest pack 1 right here, I added that one, and it's just a whole bunch of new quest packs that are, so you have more than the vanilla Daggerfall. NPC health indicators, that's whenever you attack the enemy, you don't know how much health they have, but this one puts a health bar above everyone, so that's pretty cool. This small horse black, it's basically just the horse texture whenever you mount your horse, except it's smaller so you can see more of the HUD, and it's a black horse instead. Tale of Argonia, if anyone remembers from classic Daggerfall, there used to be a what is it called? Application called Eye of Argonia, which would extend the view distance or the draw distance further. So Tail of Argonia is the opposite. It actually creates a fog, which is more like classic Daggerfall. So I like to use it in order to kind of tail the view distance down a little bit so that it's not as wide expanding because I don't know, it just looks better to me that way. Loading screen, it just creates that like a loading screen like Skyrim or Oblivion. Travel options, I believe this is the one that allows you to do, yes, it says accelerated travel as well as standard fast travel. I'm not sure if this is the one that does the mandatory travel where basically you click a times 15 times speed and it'll actually go from town to town or from this place to this place in real time. So you'll be running there or using your horse to get there in real time instead of fast travel. But it'll go really fast, so that way you're not just watching the screen for like 20 minutes. Vanilla enhanced animated people just adds more villagers, and It adds like animated. So there's some NPC flats sprites that are basically not doing anything. They're not moving at all. So this brings more animation to them. Vanilla enhanced villagers. So this just puts different outfits, different faces on Iliac base, so not everyone looks exactly the same like in the vanilla version. Uncanny UI is a new UI, and I added a texture to that as well that makes it clear. So the UI is actually clear, and it has more. Basically, it has more options for viewing your gear. It just looks better overall, so it's pretty cool. Vanilla enhanced villains and monsters, so it's better sprites for all the enemies in the game. Simple 3D trees pixelated. That's the basically it's a toned down model of simple 3D trees. That's the ones where trees are 3D instead of flats or sprites that are pasted. Transparent windows means you can go into a house or a store and look out the window and see the city outside. Viewable skill progress. So if you hit F5 and you go into your character sheet and you look at your skills, it'll show you how far you have to go to get to the next level, sort of like Oblivion. If you remember Oblivion, you can go in with F1, you can go in and check and see exactly how far you away from getting the next skill point, which is cool. Wilderness overhaul. This overhauls the wilderness. It adds a bunch of different forests, open fields, dense rainforests, barren deserts. So it instead of it just being, if you've ever played classic Daggerfall, it's just tree after tree after tree after tree, no matter where, if you're in the Daggerfall region, no matter where you go. So this will have like an open area where there's the trees and then there's an open area, and this is all out in the open in the procedurally generated area of the game where you're out in the wilds basically. World tooltips. This basically displays the info. So World Tooltips will display info without having to click F3 and click on the item to get the details. Because normally how you map a town is you go in and you hit F3 and it'll put you into I forgot what mode it's called, but it'll basically show every single whenever you click on something like an inn, it'll show you what the inn's name is, and then that'll mark that down on your overhead map, so you know where everything is. Whenever you go back to the city later on, you'll better bring up your map, and it'll show you the name of each place. So that's how this basically has a tooltip instead of having to click every single time. So that's about it for the mods. But if we go ahead and go into the game and begin to play it, let's go ahead and load our DB2 save. So I did classic loading screens as well, so that's pretty cool. This is all concept art from the original creators. Julian LaFay, who basically was the master of Daggerfall. Timothy Peterson, great guys. So now we're in Grey Castle, just like last video, and haven't done anything yet. I basically went back and reverted from that quest I completed for Mages Guild, so I can go back and do that quest again if I want to. But what I'll go ahead and do is take a look at some mods. So we'll go ahead and try to fast travel and see here's an example of a 3D asset added. Trees are 3D. Go out of the town. Here's the road that leads out of town. And as you can see, so the sky dome, it's pixelated, but it is more detailed than the original that used to show like the trees in the background to kind of give it depth. Now we don't have that depth, but what we have instead of that is we have the skybox that's pixelated. It looks a lot better. So we'll go ahead and run in here, and as you can see, the fog effects are coming through. I may extend that out a bit. It's at default right now, so I can go in there to mod settings and actually extend that fog in, which I probably should do because it's not looking like I want it to look. But it does better on FPS, that's for sure. No stutter, which is cool. But anyway, I'm running around here in the wilderness, so let's try to fast travel. didn't say. Oh, wow. So that's redone. Okay. So here's all the roads. Here's the climates, as you can see. So if we go up here, it's a little bit more. Can't remember. Let's travel to a town here and check it out. Let's go all the way up here. Charton. Let's see. It's gonna be 2-day travel. All right. Begin. Daggerfall. Elder Scrolls Chapter 2. Nice. And we are going to load in here. Nice. Looks similar. Here's the hill I was talking about. So that's the big hills that I'm talking about. So as you can see, it's like a huge hill. Yeah, I definitely have to extend that draw distance. That just looks ridiculous. That's not what I was asking for. Pacified thief. Where? Where's the thief? That's weird. Okay. I'm not sure where that came from. Here's the one of the examples of the random things that get added outside of the town. So this added a random castle. Oh, those are enemies. Oh boy. Did not know those would be enemies. Okay. So it's like an enemy tower outside of the town in Skyrim, which that's pretty cool. They're shooting arrows at me. I'm not trying to travel. Wait, why is it doing that? I think it rekeyed my... Hold on, I need to check my keys. I'm clicking F to ready weapon. F right there. Okay. Why? So why is it saying you can't travel with enemies nearby? Maybe, I think it's from that travel mod. So that travel mod probably keyed to F. What, you know, how to travel. So, because that probably adds the manual travel where you do the times thing and it does a, you know, real-time travel. So what I'm going to do is rekey this to something else. Okay, H is in it. How about J? Okay, so I'll rekey it to J and continue. As for an example here, I'll show you B, which normally was my inventory, but I changed that to a different key to H. But anyway, this is the bestiary. And as you can see, it shows different monsters in the game. Goes through everything basically. Doesn't show humans, which is kind of weird, but it is called a bestiary. Okay, so let's try J. Okay, now we're equipped. And let me check my gear real quick. I don't have the shield, so this must be different. My wagon is empty. Here's the inventory, or the interface mod that I was talking about. As you can see, it looks a lot better. It's pretty cool. So these are the different layers. So let's try the torch. Light the torch. I'm gonna click J. I'm sorry. I'm gonna click H. Okay, there we go. Oh, nice. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And as you can see, my my sword is retextured. You see the ebony dagger here looks way different. Steel saber here looks different. You can see the texture, or the sprites here are different. That's not vanilla sprites. And anyway, let's see what we can do here. Oh, they actually make me drop the blade. And there's the NPC health indicators. Man, they're straight up ganking me. Oh, they killed me before I could get a spell off. They got me. Let me see if it'll work. No. Oh, it worked. Oh no, it killed me. Sent me back. That was a bug. That was pretty cool how I got that bug at the last minute. Got hit. You're dying and you use Boundless Balm and then you get your HP back, but nope, you're going back to the load screen. Alright, I think that'll do it for this video, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.